morning, guys, and welcome back. I'm Patty Elhoff, the author of Upcycle with Decoupage, and I wanted to show you today how you can decoupage over your Luminara flameless candle. I have these on my website. My website goes through Amazon. All of the supplies will be on Amazon. If you go through my site, though, this is what allows me to keep making videos. And you can shop for everything you need on Amazon, not just the products that I show. So you just click on any one link and you get the supplies and everything else that you need from Amazon. And if you've got Prime, you get all that free shipping stuff. And I also wanted to mention, if you don't have or want one of these Luminara candles, you can do this on bottles and jars, just as I show here in the picture. So I will tell you how we can get started with this. Before I go on, I do want to mention about these flameless candles that they were around $40 to $45 a piece. I still see them in boutiques. They cost about $40 to $45 a piece. They're about $35 on Amazon. It's a really good price. But the thing that I love is when I go out, I'm constantly saying, did I blow that candle out? Did I blow the candle out? In this case, not only do I not have to blow the candle out because this comes with a timer. You can set it to go off and on at the same time every day and night. It's so realistic looking. I have actually gone over to the candle to blow it out, and then I realize, oh wow, this is a battery operated candle, and it's got a timer that goes with it if you'd like. It's just, I love these candles. So the first thing that you want to make sure that you do is you got to cover this bottom part. You don't want any of the wax to get down here. This low-tack tape, the low-tack painter's tape, works perfectly for this, and all you have to do is just make sure you cover everything that is the hard plastic on the bottom there. And then once the base of your candle looks like this and it's protected, you're going to need to melt some wax. Now, this is a pot that I used strictly for crafting. So what I'm doing is I'm going to boil water in here. By the way, if you have any candle making supplies, you're that much more ahead of the game. We just want to make sure we melt wax. And because I don't have any candle making supplies, here's what I did. I took a package of these unscented votive candles, you know, the ones that come in the metal in the bottom. I don't think it matters if they're scented or not. You do want to be careful that you're using just the white or a lighter color, because we're going to put napkins over this wax, and you want to make sure that you don't fade the napkin out too much. So what I did was I took a few of these and I put them in a second pan that I use strictly for crafting, and I just pulled the metal part off of these. You can just pop this right out. I put them in the bowl, and then I put them in the boiling water. Or rather, I took the smaller container and put it in the boiling water, just like you would do if you were melting candles. I didn't worry about the wick or the bottom piece. I just left that in there while these were melting. And you can see that this inner container is floating inside of the other pot or pan that I have here. And I'll tell you how long it took me to melt these, because I turned the timer on. So it took a little less than 8 minutes for all the wax to melt. And this is what it looks like, and you can see that the wick and the metal pieces are still in there. So what I did was I first grasped, this is what we normally use for corn on the cob, but I have one just for crafts. I picked this up out of the boiling water so that I didn't burn myself, and I put it over on a craft mat or craft paper, and then I took a plastic fork and I just scooped these pieces out. I did this a couple of times, so disregard that in this clip you can still see that the wicks are still in there. But you can still work with them while they're in there. So the next thing that I did was I took a brush that is designated, this is a chip brush. I'll have them on my website, but you can get them at any hardware store for $1. And I painted wax over the candle. Now I'm holding it on an angle like this so that you can see it, but ideally you should stand it up, and you'll see why in a moment. Around to the left, you see how it dripped off to the right? You really don't want that, and I'm going to go over that area a few times to try to smooth that out. The finished product here will never look completely smooth, but I love that about it. It looks very old-fashioned and vintage when you're done, which I'll show you. So I'm standing the candle up and I'm applying wax everywhere around the candle. You see how the bottom, the wax is all dripping. This is a really messy project, so you want to make sure you're working on a craft mat or craft paper and that you've got that bottom covered securely. Cover the whole piece. It dries very quickly. Now I'm taking a napkin. By the way, I try to find all of the napkins on Amazon so that you can also find them there. A lot of times when I order them, they'll say this is the last set, or there's only 2 or 3 sets, order quickly. So I can't always guarantee that you will find the same napkin. I will have plenty of other options on there for you though. So you want to separate the napkin and make sure you've just got that top ply. And what I'm going to do is hold it over that candle, and you kind of want, I'm lining the bottom up here, you kind of want to pull the napkin a little bit tightly if you can. We're going to take our craft iron and we are going to melt this napkin right onto the surface. Now I'm keeping the video in real time. I'm not going in fast forward motion. I'm not going in slow motion because I want you to see that I keep this moving the whole time and I'm not letting it sit in any one area for too long. And I am taking this right up to the very edge of the candle. These candles have a natural uneven look to the surface, to the very top there. So the bottom is perfectly straight. Up at the top, you'll notice that there's an uneven surface there, just like a real candle would have. It burns unevenly in certain areas. So I'm going to go around the whole napkin and the whole candle, and I'm going to re-melt that wax underneath so that it comes up on through the napkin. And it's just a very sheer light coating of this that comes on through. And here's how this looks now that I've got the wax completely covering the whole napkin. Here was a clear glass jar that I worked on, and I just wanted to show you that what I did up around the neck here where you would normally put the cap. I had a lot of wax built up there on purpose, and I went right ahead in there and I made sure to melt the napkin right up around the top there. Then when it dried, which was quickly, again, I just added a nice piece of tulle, was it tulle or lace, ribbon up around the top of that. So here are a couple of other things I want to mention. I attempted to try this technique using rice paper. I'm sorry, this is tissue paper. It's the tissue paper that I sell on Zazzle. And it did not work. But the reason that I'm showing you this is because if you do not have a craft iron and you do not want to get a craft iron, here's another option. Take your napkin, and of course you follow all the same instructions where you put all of the wax on the jar or the bottle or your candle. Then you use the brush to paint a coat of wax over this. The effect is a little bit different, as you can see on this bottle, because the wax muted the napkin, which to me looks even a little bit dreamier and beautiful. I love the look of this, but it is another option if you don't want to use the craft iron. Just paint the wax over the napkin. And just for the sake of experimentation, I took that original clear glass jar, and yes, it was tulle that I put around the top here, just wrapped it around quite a few times. Let me speed this up. I tied a bow, and then I took a nail file and I filed. Make sure you file in one direction, file inward around that rim. And I wanted to see if I could add glitter to this. So I melted the wax, I poured glitter over it, I melted the wax, I poured glitter over it. Normally I don't think of wax and glitter together, and honestly, the wax didn't hold the glitter that well. It held some of it, which I will show you in another shot or two, but it was just an option because I know someone's going to ask me, can you put glitter on this? And if I could, if it would have stuck, I would have loved it, but it did not adhere that well. And back to the original Luminaire candle, Luminera. I took the nail file and same thing. I went all around the surface. I pulled the nail file inwards so that I could take away all of the excess. The top here, make sure you're just going in the one direction and you'll pull all of that excess away. Then when you're all done with that, you just want to make sure you remove that tape from the bottom and you are all set to use your candle. And here's how they look. That's the Luminara in the center, obviously. And I'll show you this in a little bit better light, and I'll take it outside so that you can see how they look unadulterated in the vivid sunlight. But I did want you to see how the Luminara looks in the center there. I love the way that looks now. It was just a plain waxy, I guess that vanilla colored candle that's the color they normally make them in. But I love that it's specific to my taste and my color theme now. The same with the bottle on the right there. And as I move the flashlight around, you can see a little bit of the glitter over on that the jar on the left. And I'll take them outside and show you how they look outside. And here's how that clear glass jar looked when I was finished. And here's the one where I applied the wax over the candle over the bottle using the brush. Here's the candle in front. Now notice that candle has the same napkin on it as the bottle in back of it, but with the wax method where you paint the wax on, it is much more muted. And here's how that Luminara candle looks in the dark. You can see a little bit of the design coming through there. Looks beautiful in the day, beautiful at night, so that's a great bonus about this. And because these are so waxy at the base, you do want to make sure you rest them on one of these glass pillar candle holder plates. And I wanted to show you that this was a baby food jar that I did about 3 years ago. This was a spaghetti jar that I did about 3 years ago. And these things just hold up forever. The wax didn't chip. Now, you want to make sure if you're using these for votives that you only use an electric or battery operated candle on the inside because heat will cause this to melt. So, that is our video for the week. I am loving this wax decoupage. It's so much fun, whether you do it over one of the Luminaire candles or you do it over a bottle or a glass jar just for practice or fun. I love doing this project. So don't forget, I have a store on Amazon. The link to my blog is right below this video. That will take you over to my website where all of the products are listed, the supplies, you can purchase them, you can read about them. You can even come back to Facebook and ask me questions. I respond faster on Facebook. If you go over to Upcycle with Decoupage on Facebook and like and follow the page, you'll be notified every week when I put either a new video out or a new blog post, because I am adding blog posts now also. I hope you guys are enjoying your summer. We're going through a bit of a heat wave here. I'm not a big fan of that heat, but that's okay. I'm inside in the air conditioning, chatting with you guys, and that makes me really happy. So I will see you guys next week with another video or blog post. I'm not sure which one I'm doing yet. And don't forget to head on over to my website and have a look around. And I will see you guys next week. Thanks a lot, friends. Bye-bye.